So hello everybody, it is me, Demetra K, and I'm sitting here with Donovan, the Inland Empire Informer, one of his many aliases. And it is the Demetra K Show where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are a great people, but we can always strive to do better. I'd like to say, obviously, thank you, Donovan, for being here. And thank you to YouTube and Facebook, the other side of the conversation. You all are not just viewers, you are participants, because we do read your questions, comments, and concerns, because we feel like you should participate instead of just watching me and Donovan run our mouths. Also, like to say a big giant thank you to Marcus Guyton for everything he does behind the scenes on Facebook to make the show go further. So today we're going to talk about something that Kanye said, and for whatever reason, it's just not getting reposted like all the other things that he has said and done within the last week or so. So we'll get into that. And of course, a whole host of other things for the 2 hours that we are here. Also, we have ways to donate to help the channel. If you would, you can become a member. We love and appreciate you for that. And those who are already members, thank you. And if at the very least, like and subscribe to this channel, like this video. So Donovan, what say you before we get started?
All right, welcome, you guys. It is Sunday, and if it's Sunday, that means it's Demetra K. Unfortunately, she goes heads up against the football season, but guess what? We'll work her in there somewhere. You can hit the replay and watch it later on, and and hit that like and subscribe button. What's really important is that you share it. I mean, likes are really great for us and the page and getting our algorithms up and stuff like that. But the message is what we really need to share. It's important that you share it on your platform with your friends and your neighbors, so that we're all kind of expressing different types of ideas and stuff. But before we get into it real quick, I hope you guys saw the video of Ralph Warnock. He was approached by Marcel Dixon and asked specifically and directly about reparations. And the brother just looked at him and walked away. Ralph Warnock. But let the white woman talk about, well, there's this job I really wanted to get, whatever. He was listening to her very attentively. This is the problem with our Black politicians. So if you haven't seen the video, go ahead and look it up. It's up on YouTube, whatever. Marcel Dixon, who ran for office, he's still out there doing the work. He's still out there doing the work and challenging these Black politicians to do something for their own people. And this man, a reverend, literally sat up there and ignored him.
So, of course, we can get into all of that a little bit later on in the show. And Moni, how you doing? So anyway, I'm going to wait for a couple more people to come on here, because I want to actually play a video, because I know people say, well, what happened? What did he say? And, of course, we'll have to go. Well, I won't continue to go over it over again. But let's see. And Michael, how are you? So me personally, just to kill a little bit of time, I just got back from my grandfather's funeral in Florida. My daughter and I drove it took us 13 hours to get there on Thursday, and then about 11 hours or so to get back on Sunday. So that was quite a drive. I don't think I ever want to drive. I keep saying I don't want to drive across country again. I did it 2 years ago from California to Texas, and it was like, ugh. So I actually drove all the way there myself to Florida on Thursday, and my daughter helped me drive back. So yes, my grandfather passed away, almost 90 years old. We will miss him dearly, but what a blessing to live to be that old, a nice full life of people who love you and celebrate you, and all those things. And so anyway, who else came on here? Brother Samuel, how you doing? Sunlight Thunder, Artemis, what's going on with you? He says, wait until after the election and then we judge him. So you're talking about that of Ralph Warnock. Okay. Thank you so much, Thunder. And Michael says, Demetra, I'm sorry for your loss, but I'm sure that you needed to heal. Yes. Well, I look at death a lot differently after the passing of my mother. My mom is the biggest and most deepest death that I've experienced to this date. And so I've just learned to process death a little bit differently. I know that our people, when they pass, I consider them our ancestors. Yes, physically, they're no longer here, but their energy, wisdom, and knowledge and everything else is still here. And so I'm okay. I did shed a tear or two, but I'm good. Thank you, Brother Reggie. And Tawana, how you doing? He says, hi, I watched the Rev with that blank stare on his face talking about Warnock. Tantrum, how you doing? He says, God, together we pray. Give us back Tupac and Biggie. We will give you Kanye and Justin Bieber one exchange. Amen. Amen. And yes, peace be unto you as well. And thank you, Brother Samuel. All right. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Of course, you guys know Kanye West, yay, however y'all want to refer to him. Hello, D Maverick. He's been kind of in trouble with the media, kind of, sort of, just people. Some of his fans and followers are like, okay, that's enough. I'm done. You guys know, I think it was last Monday or Sunday, he closed out Fashion Week with his Yay line, I guess a Yeezy line. And he had his models wear White Lives Matter t-shirts. You saw that of Candace Owens. You saw Lauryn Hill's daughter. And it sounds like Naomi Campbell closed out his show, She Walked Last. So when those images hit the internet, people are like, what the F? Kanye is, he's already stepped in a lot, but this time it's like, wow. All right. And so then he went on to that Carlson Tucker's show. And I guess he was kind of explaining why he did the White Lives Matter thing and just that and the other. And he said a whole bunch of things, but this is one thing that I saw. And listen, I want to say this, and forgive me, I know my stream is probably freezing up, but I know you can hear me. I want to say this. I am not caping for Kanye West. I just want to say that because I know in the past I have rode with Kanye West, but yeah, the White Lives Matter thing, that's a step too far. So I'm not defending him. I just want to say that because somebody will be like, you're defending. I'm not defending him. But he said this on Fox News with Tucker Carlson, and I'm wondering why aren't we reposting and retweeting this like we are doing the White Lives Matter shenanigans that he pulled off a week ago. So check it out.
Our worth is approval, as an approval rating. The Democrats feel that they don't owe us anything, and Republicans feel that they don't owe us anything. Blacks have never demanded something for our vote. And that's something I talked to Ice Cube about. What are we asking for? How do we change our life? If all of our organizations and all of our colleges and even our title as Black was made by white people, all of our jobs, and Black Wall Street, Harlem after gentrification, there's never been a fully Black-owned community where we have all the municipalities, things that Dr. Claude Anderson talks about. We need that.
So as y'all heard and saw Kanye say that, of course, within that whole interview, he said a whole lot of things, but I just, kind of found that to be interesting that we would, keep reposting the White Lives Matter thing. And I think it's important that we, say, hey, this is Kanye's tripping, blah, blah, blah. I think that's important. But I think we're also overlooking some of the other things that he said. And that is one of them. Of course, you guys know that we are approaching midterms in November. Midterms are coming up, where a whole host of seats are up for grabs, if you will, by the Republicans and the Democrats. And of course, he mentioned that of the Democrats, who he says does nothing for us. And he also said that we don't demand things of the Democrats. Well, I would say that's true, and it's true and it's not true. You know what I mean? Because it's one thing to demand, but what are you going to do if you don't get it, right? You're going to demand, and they say, well, we're not going to give it to you. You go away. So, he also invoked the name of Dr. Claude Anderson. You guys know Dr. Claude Anderson, who's been talking about reparations forever, has the book Powernomics, and he's all over YouTube and everywhere else, talking about the things that Black people need to do in order to not become a permanent underclass, which I think probably at this point we are. Permanent underclass means that we are last in everything you can think of, right? So specifically to that of politics, he asked us not to just give our vote to anybody who is not going to give us something in return, which that's what we've been doing for a very long time. Really kind of after the civil rights movement, we kind of got, integration, and we thought we've made it, but after that we haven't really moved the ball since. And so I just thought that was very important. I think it's a conversation that we should have, especially being that the midterms are so close. Everybody is asking for our votes. Donovan mentioned that of Ralph Warnock, and he also mentioned that of Marcel Dixon, who has gone to visit that of Ralph Warnock. and while he's out there campaigning and things like that, and he's trying to talk to him, but Ralph Warnock is just kind of overlooking him. Again, y'all forgive me for freezing, but you can hear me. He's overlooking him, but he's answering white people's questions, and he's just skinning and grinning with everybody else. But when it comes to Brother Dixon, it's like, I don't. Is anybody talking to me? Who is that? Who is that? Of course, you got people, a lot of white people in the audience who are like, "Shut up, you idiot! You don't go away." And this, that, and the other. Of course, he's giving them the business. But I noticed in a lot of those videos, you see a lot of our people who are kind of just, you know how they do in the Baptist church, put up the Baptist finger, and they're walking out because they don't want to be in the crossfires or the confrontation. So you have people like Marcel Dixon asking for reparations, being ignored. You got Stacey Abrams, who's not big on reparation either, although she says she needs the help of Black men, and a whole host of other people out there who need Black people. And as I said earlier on Twitter, especially with that, Stacey Abrams, she says, "Oh, I need the Black men. I can't do it without you." But it's like, well, what are you going to do for Black men? Because you want them to help you for free, but you're not offering Black men, but you're offering everybody else something, whether it's immigrants, LGBTQ, and, a whole host of other things and people. But Black men, you just want them to show up, do the heavy lifting so you can go help everybody else. And so I like the word that Kanye used. And I can't say I like Kanye, although I used to. I still listen to some of his music every once in a while. But I like the word that he used, demand, right? Because I think when we think about demand, we think about going out there and marching, and, we're on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, we're in anything, this, that, and the other. But what are we actually prepared to do in order to move the ball with these politicians? One other thing, we heard that Joe Biden, he's going to overturn the convictions of the marijuana on the federal level. He's going to do it on the federal level. He doesn't have any control or jurisdiction over the state level. And from what I understand, there's only about 150 inmates in federal prison right now and he says, low-level marijuana offenses. Now, I should also say, in fairness, that law will, I guess, pardon people, like the thousands of people who did get sentenced to marijuana low-level offenses. But those are low-hanging fruits, right? You don't think people need to be pardoned for a little crack offense? You got the crack. Bill Biden is that carried, I think, a harsher sentence in a lot of cases. But you don't want to touch that one. So we're going to have that conversation. And so, Donovan, what say you before I get to these comments?
Oh, you said a lot of my talking points. Kanye, regardless if you guys think that Kanye is loco, crazy, mentally challenged, or whatever, he does have some good points. Sometimes there's a saying, there's a message in the music sometimes. And if he is a little bit perturbed in the head, at being valued at $4 to $6 billion, I would like a little bit of that knowledge that would get me to $4 to $6 billion. So he's doing something right in regards to the money and getting to the money. Unfortunately, though, we have people in examples, these Black entertainers. And when I say entertainers, I'm including sports, the arts, acting, all of that, anything that entertains, singers, anything that entertains. You've got all of these entertainers that have all of this wealth, and yet they collectively don't get together and do things in a serious manner in regards to their own people. And, it's their right not to do it or whatever they're doing. And some of them are doing things, but it's so insignificant that, as we see right now with the eviction moratoriums happening, people are getting evicted. And, a lot of people saying, well, the Black women are getting evicted at a high rate. That is probably true compared to other groups. But you also got to remember, in that eviction process, guess who's right behind those Black women? Their boyfriends who are living in the apartment with them or the house with them. So men are getting evicted as well. So, when they bring that up, it's kind of like a misnomer, because it ain't like these women are out here. The majority of women out here are not living by themselves. They either have a live-in boyfriend or something going on within their homes. But we piece up and we take parts of a video and we put it out there as a soundbite. and everybody goes with that, but they lose the message. And we need to get back to really parsing and listening to what it is they're trying to say in these videos or in these shows. So the last video, no voting, no loving, right? What are they actually trying to say in that video? I mean, 98% of Black women vote unilaterally Democratic. 96%, 94% of Black men vote Democratic. So what was the need for that video? It didn't make sense to me other than showing the limited low fruit that they think about Black people in regards to voting. Just vote and don't get nothing out of it. So we have a long way to go, people. It's kind of depressing. I'm a bit depressed today, but we got to keep talking. We got to keep talking.
Yes, indeed. And so I'll get into the comments so that we don't get behind. And Kimberly, how you doing? Says Kanye is in the sunken place. Kanye is being a useful tool. He spews rhetoric on Black America at random and does not help anything. Kanye is a great marketer. And yes, you guys, I am freezing up a little bit. I don't know what it is with this internet situation in Houston, but I apologize.
You're in Texas. Texas is by itself. We don't need nobody.
That's how I feel about it. So I apologize, but hopefully y'all can hear me. Super Patriot, how you doing? Says, of course, everyone should get something for their vote. Yes, indeed. And Thunder says, I saw your video on the granny getting low. What happened to the classy older ladies? I did notice that your 51-year-old, 51 looks a hell of a lot better than hers. Oh my God. Can you tell us why for the folks in the back? Why women are doing what happened to classy women? I don't know. I just think there's a lot of competitiveness going on. And I think that the older women forgot that we are to be setting the example. We are not supposed to be following the kids and the young ladies, because if we don't set the example, who will they look up to? And I think I asked that question in the video. Who will they look up to? A lot of, I don't know. I just think maybe nowadays a lot, I don't know. It's just kind of hard for me to explain. I think those good examples of women, they're starting to kind of fade. When I say good examples, I'm talking about my mom, my grandma, and women like that who were proper. They were proper in everything that they did. Now, that don't mean they weren't freaks, but they were freaks for their man. It wasn't freaks for everybody to see. And so, I don't know. And then
what it comes down to is everybody has their day. We had, like we were talking about before we came on the show, we had a good run. Everybody has a good run, but nowadays they don't want that run to end. And it looks really ridiculous when you're 60, 70 years old and you're still competing with 22, 23 years old. And we're not just talking about the women, we're talking about the men too. When I see a man my age still in khakis, looking like Chris Tucker from Friday, it's like, come on, dude, when are you going to grow up?
Yes, indeed. And Jay Bubba, how you doing? He says, Warnock sat there and listened to a white woman talk about her internship. I heard that, and he was just skinning and grinning for Miss Ann. They ignored Marcel. Yeah, he sure was. You could kind of tell he was uncomfortable because, Marcel was there, and then he's listening to the white woman. She was talking uninterrupted, said all she wanted to say, right? But when it came to reparations, it's like he did a 180, like, let me get the hell out of here. And Monet says, bye, Stacey Abrams. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Unfortunately, right? The Pioneer says, sis, I know it's, so again, y'all, it's on my end is freezing. So I am so sorry. Super Patriot says Biden and crack. And then Kimberly says Kanye was in $53 million worth of debt in 2015, 2019. He came up with the homeless looking tennis shoe, then became a billionaire. I wonder what did Kanye have to agree to do to get funding? Well, actually, his wife, Kimberly Kardashian at the time, gave him the money to help him get out of bankruptcy. So she gave him, I think it was 15 million. I don't think it was 53. I think it was like $15 million in debt, and she gave it to him. So that's how that happened. But what they tell us, right?
Yeah, but is it? And I want to address your thing about Joe Biden and the marijuana relief thing. Why is it that the Black issues are either drugs or prison? You guys should be insulted by that. If you're a Democrat, you should be insulted by that, because that's what they think our only issues are: drugs and prison.
Well, yeah, because that's what they do to us, drugs and prison, so they just kind of feel like, I guess that, and I say they, I mean the Democrats, oh, of course it's midterm, so they got to try to act like they delivering some stuff for us, but it's like, well, y'all should be doing that anyway. I mean, especially that marijuana is legal in a lot of states. I mean, there shouldn't be anybody in jail or prison or whatever for marijuana, especially since you have all these dispensaries and people making, fistfuls of money. But yeah, we'll take that. But y'all know ultimately what we want, and we want the money. They skirting around everything. But unfortunately, some of it is working. I've seen Black people on the internet celebrating, oh, Joe Biden, he's overturning the marijuana conviction. Is like, research that he only has the power to do something on the federal level. He does not have jurisdiction over the states. And a lot of people most people are convicted on the state level, not the federal level.
Right. And in that video, that's why I don't understand. I agree with you right there. I don't understand. Why didn't the people see the whole video? If you saw the whole video of his press conference, he said, I'm going to encourage the governors to follow suit, which is basically saying, I can't do nothing at the state level, but here at the federal level, I'm good. But most of your convictions are at the state level.
And Thandi says, is it possible that he pardoned those people because the Russia problem may lead to conscription here in the States? I don't know what that is. Forgive me.
Conscription is like military service.
Okay, got you. Huh? Maybe, I don't know.
Never. And let me tell you guys this. If we had to really go to war, have you noticed we haven't won any wars since Vietnam? Other than Desert Storm, which, I was a server of that. We won that one. Well, that was really a draw. But the point is, America doesn't have it like they did back in our grandfather's day when World War II. You had people, they gave jobs because they didn't know how to stop to kill. So they made them drill instructors.
Hello, only Pamela's Way and Todd and Tasha podcast. How you doing? It says we over here stopped voting Democrat back before Obama was elected. So y'all caught on a lot sooner than a lot of us did. I'll admit I did vote for Obama twice, but yeah, I will never make that mistake again. So yeah, you guys caught on a lot sooner than we all should have caught on when y'all did. And then Seduction Doll, how you doing? He says tangibles. And Jessica says, did either of you watch the Kanye and Tucker Carlson complete interview? I watched most of it. I won't say that I watched it from beginning to end, but I watched most of it. He said a lot of things that didn't make sense, like about Lizzo. It was kind of like a backhanded comment. I listened to that one a couple times. I was like, yeah, I don't know exactly where he was going with that one. And Kimberly says, Kanye apologized to the Bush family. He ate his 2005 words. Kanye put music out that could arguably be called a neo-Nazi. He said he was a black skinhead. Kanye wore the MAGA hat and White Lives Matter shirt. Yeah, I can't even try to make sense of what Kanye is doing. Kanye is worth a whole lot of money. So he's just, probably like, I don't need the people who got me here, which is black people. I'm, tap dancing for the man now. So I don't know. I don't even think we should really even try to make excuses for Kanye at this point. The White Lives Matter, that was a lot, and then somebody said, well, he's got white kids. So yeah, okay. But that ain't how he came up though. You know what I mean? And Super Patriot says, my sister is from Houston. And how does she like it? And one who cares how you doing says, good evening, Demetra, K, Donovan, and chat. And Moni says, Demetra, I would have thought you wore your nice lipstick and had on such a nice plum. You should start wearing it when you come to your show. It's such a beautiful signature, very beautiful color. Maybe when it gets colder in the winter, I'll start wearing it more. But I always consider you when I do wear it. And Only Pamela's Way says, exactly, these women and men need to stop attention seeking. It looks ridiculous. Totally agree with you. D Maverick, how you doing? Says, spreading lies and misinformation. It was said that 1,000 people would be affected by the new Biden plan on marijuana convictions and charges. Actually, it's 6,500 people with these new federal charges. So it's probably about 6,500 people who will have their record or be pardoned, but there's not that many people in a federal prison on low level. I mean, come on, let's think about it. When you go do Fed time, do you go do Fed time for low level marijuana charges? Well, like when I hear low level, I think of like a dime bag. Not that I smoke weed, I just know the terms. I know nickel bags and like that's what I think about. I don't think about I don't know, maybe there's some people in there who maybe tried to do a boatload of weed. I don't know, but yeah, they said that many people would be pardoned, but it's not that many people sitting in federal prison right now on a low-level marijuana offenses. So you can look it up if you don't believe me, D. I did. Jan Michael, how you doing? It says, hey now, greetings, doing something right and doing something cleverly, big difference. Cleverly usually involves much betrayal. And LS, how are you doing? It says, I'd rather be caught in khakis than skinny jeans. Okay. Sean West, how you doing? It says, I love listening to the show. I never voted, but since the late 70s, I've seen what the Democrats was doing to our community and people. So, yep, you caught on a lot faster than the rest of us as well. Michael says, Donovan, why does Marcel Dixon run? Why doesn't he run as an independent Green Party or human rights and libertarian candidate? Are you answering that in the comment section? Okay. Let's see here. Charles, how are you doing? It says Tennessee don't want to agree with the pardons. Yeah, I mean, because they're getting a lot of labor from people in prison. If you know that the prisons, a lot of them are private, there's money in that, and they have to guarantee their investors a return on their investment. And in a lot of cases, they have to guarantee 90% occupancy rate in those prisons in order to give their investors a return on their investment. And so how do you do that? You give people prison time for low-level offenses, this, that, and the other. And then, of course, you get them caught up in the system when they're in there so that they stay a very long time. So, of course, they don't want to agree with it. That's where a lot of the labor comes from. And Jessica says, I agree, Donovan, but what about housing laws, employment rates, and poor education? Kimberly, are you answering that? Okay. Kimberly, he says, I have been tired of both parties, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush Jr., Obama, Trump, and Biden have not done anything for Black America that has had major positive impact. I totally agree. Thank you so much, Marcus, for sharing the link on Facebook. If y'all on Facebook and y'all see this, click on the link and comment, and I will see your comment and I will read it. Thank you so much. And let's see. And Super Patriot says, war is the money. War is the money these days. Yep, always has been. Thunder says, if that granny was a normal-looking 51-year-old DK, you are aging like Lena Horne, timeless. Oh, thank you so much. I don't know what it is. I think it's really in my genes. My mom looked rather young. I try to eat right. I didn't the last couple of days, I'll tell you that. And I go to bed at a decent time, drink water, and I try not to get stressed out too much. It'll be stressful trying to compete with kids, you know. And Jeremy has awakened. How you doing? It says, good evening, Demetra, Donovan, and a Black First family. Yes, indeed. And Jay, how you doing? It says, those people that are celebrating don't know about bait and switch. They will be the first ones to get killed because they don't know or try to understand. I totally agree. And Marty says, I'm looking at CNN and they are doing the polls that Herschel Walker is definitely losing. And I know that might be sad for those that love Republicans, but he's losing, looking real stupid. Yeah, it wasn't losing by that much. I think a week ago, about 3 points. But of course, when they blasted him with the text from his, the girlfriend who had an abortion or whatever the case is. And so, the Democrats are digging in the crates and doing, as I call it, Tanya Harding, trying to hit Herschel Walker in the knees. And yes, Herschel Walker is as dumb as a box of rocks, but I think we should be focusing more, or they should in Georgia, focus on more on why is it that Herschel is so close in the polls to that of Ralph than, him losing. I mean, that's problematic, I would think.
Yeah, and you got to remember, for them to run a candidate like Herschel Walker, who obviously is suffering from CTE, what do we always tell you guys? Politics is not about helping you and doing all this. Politics is about power, period.
Absolutely. Artemis, you say, can we talk about the Homestead Act when white folks got free Indian land and African in America got nothing but the KKK cross? Well, absolutely. But, regardless of whatever act it is, it's not going to do us any good unless we actually do something about it. And, referencing that of Dr. Claude Anderson, we got to stop talking about it. We got to stop marching about it. We actually got to be about it, even if that means withholding our Black dollars. But we won't do that, right? Or even withholding our Black vote or taking our vote somewhere else. That's actually going to be beneficial to us. But we are, as he also says, the only group of people that vote as a block for our oppression. So we need to think about those things. Seduction Dog, he says, Marcel did this thing. The government keeps us in the state, power and money, us poor in jail and on drugs. He kept mentioning Kim, and I think he comment cut off. And Sean says, just like his executive order, on police, is just for federal police. Our people deal with local and state police more than federal. Yeah, like you said, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act only deals with federal law enforcement. That's Border Patrol, CIA, FBI. And when the last time y'all got pulled over by any of those people? So that's also, to say we did something, because they know most people won't research. They'll just take them at their word and say, oh, well, we got something. Super Patriot says war has always been a racket, quote unquote, but it's worse these days. Yes. And the Messenger, how you doing? Says that's because people don't be real about their people. Okay. And Mona says everybody has to pick what they like, and a lot of people got the message that they're not going to be going and wasting their time for people that's not going to do anything. Herschel Walker paying for abortion. Herschel Walker just got caught. There's a lot of other people who do it and just don't talk about it. So he just got caught doing it, right? And I know he's supposed to represent the party of family values and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I think we got to kind of be smarter than the average bear and know that it's election season. And of course, they're pulling out all the stops. They've been knew that, but this is the 11th hour per se. And so they're going to pull out all the stops to try to tank each other in the polls. Yeah,
we have a couple of weeks left before the election actually happens. But let me ask you this real quick in regards to Herschel Walker. Okay, let's say he did do that in the past, and he's changed now. I don't know how many years ago that happened or whatever, but he's changed. And so when I'm listening to the story, and I'm not a Herschel Walker fan when he left the Dallas Cowboys, but what happened to redemption? What I'm saying is it is logical that maybe somewhere in the pertaining years, he turned pro-life. I don't understand why people don't see that. We want forgiveness. Okay, let's say I'm a pimp and I did that for years and years and years, and I changed my life around. I mean, all I'm saying is it plausible? That's all I'm saying in regards to that thing. We're saying like the guy just said it yesterday that he, did all this other stuff. Okay, he's lying. He did all that, whatever the deal is. But he says he's pro-life now and he's a Christian. Just give him the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely. And LS, you're absolutely right. He says not many blacks are saying anything about Kanye's words on abortion. Yes, and he's talked about that a lot as far as, black babies being disproportionately aborted more than any baby here in the United States. So yeah, that I agree with you. Let's see here. Tatum, how you doing? And Jay says, look up the gematria number, 65 trick bag. Okay, and then let's see here. I'm gonna skip down to somebody I've not seen yet so I can catch up. And Ruth Tracker says Marcel let that bootleg war nuts have it. Yes, he did, and he was shook. He was completely shook, did not know what to do. And now it's trending, over Black Twitter anyway. So good. Artemis says, what do you think of a civil war? A civil war as far as between who? Between us and America, black people, white people? Come on. Black people would never survive a civil war. We can't even get together and get the person that owns a liquor store in our neighborhood that's beating up our women and children. We can't even form a civil war on them. So how the hell we gonna form a civil war on this white man? I mean, you know what I mean? It's just not gonna work. Not the way we are. And LSU says that was a proclamation, not an executive order. All showed no substance. Absolutely, but they know that will run away with that. And Letitia, how you doing? Says, yay is a distraction by the liberals, I believe, to draw our energy from our community. Absolutely. But the other thing too is, like I said in the video, he's talking about how we, we vote rather for the Democrats, and we don't have anything to show for it. So I just think that's kind of, where we should focus, not because he said it, but because it's the truth. I know you're right on time. And Ellis says, check the source, CNN. Yes. And then Seduction Dog says, laugh out loud. He did give them that work. Yes, indeed. Let's see here. So you said Seduction Dog, you said dark money. So somebody mentioned dark money. I think it's probably Donovan. Dark money is money that is given basically in the dark. It's not known. It's by entities that don't mean everybody else any good. They don't engage in utilitarianism. They engage in, it's what about meism, and my corporation. So dark money influences a lot of elections and candidates and things like that. And shalom on to you as well, Letitia. And Jimmy James, how you doing? He says, I wouldn't vote for a Democrat for even the most minuscule job. Wow. And then did you answer Michael's question about the Green Party? Okay. And let's see here. Jeremy has Waking says, I'm just joining. Forgive me if I was already if it was already mentioned. I noticed Biden didn't put any money as an incentive behind the governors also pardoning the same marijuana charges as he did with the crime bill. Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how they do, right? And y'all know who that affects mostly. It's mostly Black people. So that's really to say, well, this is for y'all Negroes. Remember I said I was going to stand by y'all. Well, this is kind of something, you know. But,
okay, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was kind of saying in regards to the dark money thing. What when the Democrats weren't in power and President Bush, W. Bush, was in power? What were the Democrats saying was the main problem in politics? Oh, the money in politics. We got to get money in politics. How long have the Democrats been in charge now? Unilaterally, they have all the everything they need to get money out of politics. Are they doing it? No. Isn't it funny when they're in power, there doesn't seem to be a problem. But when the other group is in power, it's a problem. We got to do this. We got to do that. If you believe in January 6th and all these things that have happened that was unconstitutional, why aren't the Democrats strengthening the laws in regards to presidential power and the elections? Why aren't they doing that? Think about it, you guys.
Jimmy James, you crazy. He said I had enough of Miss Thing. Christian Walker. Yes, that's Herschel Walker's son, who was very, as my nephew would say, fashionably involved. That's his way of saying, you know, fashionably involved. Oh. All right, so let's see. LS says, should the Dems be behind Herschel because he had an abortion? A lot of them having abortions, you know. I just think a lot of people, I don't know, well, obviously a lot of people do it, but a lot of people don't talk about it. At the end of the day, I think the abortion thing is a hot ticket item. So, of course, you know, the Democrats, they're going to jump on it and expose him, if you will. But I don't know. It's just, I mean, it does make him a hypocrite, him running around saying it's wrong and people shouldn't do it. But he just got caught. The rest of them, they do and say stuff all the time. And, you know, they don't get caught. And Super Patriot says, I can actually forgive people. Okay, and Andre, how you doing? It says, people can grow. We all aren't who we used to be. Some of us better, some of us worse. Yes, indeed. It's called evolution. Brother Darius, how you doing? And he says, and buffooning individuals have to say about anything or anyone, I'm sure as don't at 51, God has confidently and completely equipped me to critically think and speak for myself. I'm out. Peace. All right, then, brother. Super Patriot says, but does he show empathy to others? Just saying. All right. And so let me skip down. And Shonda at large, how are you doing? And Jay says, politicians are trained to lie to your face. Honest candidates show you with their actions. Yes, indeed. And Honeydew, what's going on with you? Says, hi, Demetra. Donovan in chat. I'm very sorry for your loss, Demetra. Yes, my grandfather passed away, but he was almost 90. So he lived a pretty good, I would say, full life. So we're grateful for that. And Kimberly, you say, so you're talking to Donovan, and LS, she says 4 years with Biden, 8 years with Obama because they're getting that Soros money. George Soros is what you're talking about. It is said that he is a big time donor to the Democratic Party. Some have also said that he has funded that of BLM, got them started. Herbert, how are you doing? And Stephanie, you say, for me, the bottom line is Mr. Walker is an idiot. He is. No, nobody's saying he's not. He's definitely an idiot. Trust me, I would never try to defend him at all. Ralph Warnock ain't no better. I mean, what is he? Herschel is an idiot. Warnock is, you know, helping everybody else but us. So, I mean, he won't even listen to us about what we want, you know, and I know the church that he sits in and he ministers in was that of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And what did Dr. Martin Luther King say he was doing right before he was murdered? He said he was going to Washington to get the check, but you asked Warnock, and he was like, I don't know about no reparations. You know what I mean? So
and you got to remember, Dr. King lived a very pious and very average life. He wasn't in a big mansion or anything like that because there was an interview that he did, and they had asked him, they go, well, you know, your family's growing. Coretta Scott King wanted a bigger house and stuff. And Dr. King said, no, how would that look? That we are living an opulent life and all these other things, and people are still in shacks and all this other stuff. So a lot of people really need to look at how these pastors are moving nowadays. And think about it, you guys. A pro-life pastor, pro-life, It just doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't know what to say. If you think Ralph Warnock as a pastor and a politician is who you think he is, and we saw what he did to Marcel, you're absolutely wrong. If Herschel wins, you get nothing. Warnock is in there and you're still getting nothing. So what's the difference?
Absolutely. It should say that Dr. Martin Luther King was not broke when he left up out of here. You know, he received a lot of money, especially from that of the Kennedy administration. He was
he wasn't broke.
Yeah, he was part of the Big Six, where they received a lot of money to go back to their communities and pretend. So y'all can look that up as well. Thandi says, question, do you think Trump will run again? And if he wins, loses, do you think there will be trouble in the streets? If he wins, will the left act out? If he loses, will the right have a January 6th moment? It's kind of hard to tell. Is Trump going to run? I don't know. I mean, they say he is, but I don't know if there's been anything formal announced. If he loses, I don't know. It's just kind of hard to say. Well, definitely, if he wins, no. The Democrats are not going to act out. In fact, they're going to acquiesce like they always do.
Yeah.
Like now, you know, Trump has been accused of a whole lot of, you know, crime, and he's still walking free as a bird. The Democrats own and control and operate everything at this point for the most part, and he's still walking around. So the Democrats aren't going to act up. They're going to go along, get along.
Yeah, actually, he is going to run because that's going to protect him from prosecution for a little bit longer. Not saying he won't be prosecuted. Well, he hasn't been prosecuted now. If that was any one of us that even had a classified document, you would be in jail right now trying to prove your innocence. But he has to run to stave off a lot of the lawsuits and things like that, because he's going to say, see how they're prosecuting me. It's political. And that's and that's his move. He can't say anything now because we're just doing the midterms.
Absolutely. And check it. If I didn't already, how you doing? You say, how do you get reparations without going through the government? You need the House, the Senate, President, courts, and law enforcement in order to get them and keep them. Well, we could definitely start, by voting responsibly, voting in a mature manner, not just voting because our grandmama and them, voted for a certain party, and because somebody can do play the saxophone real good and do the wobble and all of that. Yeah, we need to really think about who we're voting for and say you won't get our vote if you do not at least do something for us. You think about every other community. Really just think about it. Just think about it even on a local level in the white neighborhoods. They don't allow people to sit in those seats who don't do nothing for them. They get in there, they elect them to go in there, and they do for the community that voted them in. Asians do the same thing, Hispanics. And if that particular candidate or politician does not do for them, then they get them out of there. Us, she reclaiming her time. Oh, yeah, she this, she that, he this, she that. He walked over the bridge 20 times, or whatever the case is, and we just keep them in there even though they're not delivering for us as they're supposed to. And so we need to do like they do. Hold them accountable at the ballot. You got to go. You got to go. Next person that comes in here, you saw what happened to your predecessor. If you don't do something, y'all ass going to be out of here right along with them. That's how it needs to go. We at least start there. And let's see here. Ella, she says, Patrice Cullors is living opulently. Yes, indeed. Black Lives Matter ex-CEO, she stepped down. That guy from Texas, how you doing? Kimberly says, so true. Pro-life pastor doesn't add up. Well, it adds up if you were trying to, get the votes of the Democratic Party. I guess they would consider that progressive. Well, I'm progressive now. I think people should have the right to choose, but it's like, that's how I know certain people don't read the Bible. That's in direct opposition to a lot of scriptures in the Bible talk about you a pro-choice pastor. That doesn't line up. And check it says there's a huge difference between the Republicans and Dems, but neither are great. There's a difference in maybe behavior. Policy-wise, I don't think so much. I just think behavioral-wise, the Democrats are, oh, we love you, black people. We love you. The Republicans are like, yeah, we don't really care for you much, but they're both really policy-wise netting the same benefits for black people, which is nothing.
Well, I got a better example. I have your lottery ticket that you just won. Would you want me to tell you the truth that you won, or do you want me to BS you? And what hurts you more when I tell you you didn't win, right? That's how the Democratic Party and the Republican Party work. The Republicans ain't hiding their stuff. They're telling you straight out, we ain't doing nothing for you, blah, 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 whatever. So once you know that they're not doing nothing for you, when you know a person's not doing something for you, what do? You go do for yourself and look at other options, right, to survive. The Democrats, if you look at their history, they've never been down for Black people since the inception of this country. Give me a break. They give you a few carrots here and a few jobs here. Let a few Black people sit in a few seats. And all of a sudden, they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Come on now.
Yes, indeed. Brother Marcus, how you doing? Says, I don't want to get off the subject, but these Martin Luther King big six theories, they are surely written by people who want to stain his legacy. And with so much information out there not being true, I think it's unfair to state these things as fact, as we were neither there and can't even verify with any documentation that it is true. Well, it has been verified, and of course you can go look those things up. But I also, I know, and see, I think we got to get out of this frame of mind, Marcus. And I'm not just specifically saying to you. I think that sometimes we see people as deities, and I think we see Martin Luther King as a deity. And just like most people, all people, he wasn't perfect, but and keeping in line with that, look and see who he received an award from. He received an award from that of Margaret Sanger. Now, who was Margaret Sanger? Margaret Sanger was like the godmama of the eugenics program and definitely championed that of Planned Parenthood in exterminating Black babies. She said, and y'all look it up, she said 30 years before Martin Luther King actually got this award, the Margaret Sanger Award, she said, we need to find a Negro preacher that is well respected so that he can deliver these messages to the Negroes. 30 years later, Martin Luther King Jr. gets that award, and via his wife, Coretta, he said, because he wasn't there to accept it, he told his wife to say, I will always regard this as one of my most cherished awards. Now, if you don't believe me, you can look that up, but I think we need to get out of the frame of mind that in our mind, this perfect is perfect. Oh, they couldn't do nothing wrong. And then when you say something that is maybe not so cool about that person, then we try to say, oh, well, that's a lie. Well, I ask you this, Marcus, since we've had this conversation a copious amount of times, prove me to be a liar. Prove me to be a liar, and then I will never, ever mention that again. Prove me to be a liar on any of the things that I just said. I'm not saying Martin Luther King wasn't great at what he did. Hell, he's, the only person I can think of in modern history to form a boycott and actually get movement, even though that movement still hurt us as far as the bus boycotts, but he did that. So I'm not taking anything away from him. But anyway, yes, Kimberly, why is Trump free? I mean, that's a good question. And Denise, how you doing? It says America did not win the Vietnam War. They lost. This is why it's called the Vietnam conflict. Absolutely. Got it handed to us. And Jessica, he says anything King got or his family got was left with, was well-deserved. He gave his life and his movement, Stop Jim Crow, a system none of us wanted to live under. Well, let me just go ahead and explain that a little bit further. So the big six was that of Martin Luther King Jr., John Lewis, I think it was Ralph Abernathy, and three other people. It always slips my mind, but y'all can look it up. The Kennedy administration, Kennedy, invited them to his office and said, listen, and this is during the civil rights when it's really about to turn up. He said the Negroes are going to go out there. And Malcolm X actually tells the story as well, that they wanted to go lay out on a tarmac at LaGuardia Airport and disrupt the planes from landing and, City Hall, and just a lot of things were going to go on. That's how Black people wanted to turn up. So he told those leaders to go back to your organization and your community and tell them we're going to do certain things, but we're not going to really disrupt things for, everyday life for, basically white people. And so they took about $1.3 million at the time between all six of them and went back to their communities and did just that. So the money that he got, was it well earned? Yeah, I guess if he did what he was asked to do. Now, I'm not saying that Martin Luther King should be broke. I'm not one to advocate that leaders should be broke, but I also think that we should tell the truth and stop thinking that all of our leaders, per se, people we looked up to, were without blemish, because they were not, just like we're not.
Yeah. How many of you guys know that the Democratic Playbook is when Black people ask for reparations or anything specific to them? politicians are supposed to empathize with Black people, but not address the issue. That's why you saw Ralph Warnock not say a word. You saw Jim Clyburn, why y'all fucking with me? Not say a word. Whenever it's a Black issue, the playbook in the Democratic Party is to not address the issue when it comes to Black issues.
Pamela, I did not hear anything about that leaked audio, but I guess I will try to find it. Or you said there's not one? So no, I didn't hear anything about it at all. And Mr. Dion, how you doing? It says Hillary had a whole laptop linked to donors full of classified info. They all riding dirty. Every last one of them. All of them are riding dirty. And they talk all the time. I mean, like do y'all know that politics is really a distraction from the bigger picture of capitalism? Capitalism is at the top of all of this. Read the Communist Manifesto. It talks about that. That all of this politics, racism, and everything else in between is a distraction from the real issue, which is capitalism. The ones that own the means of productions, they're the ones that's sowing seeds of division and distraction to the rest of us. They keep us fighting while they keep moving the money. I mean, so yeah, I don't believe me. Y'all can look that one up too. And check it. You say they don't care about our votes. They're going with Hispanics now, but where are the Hispanics going? They're going with the conservatives. You also say we definitely should have done that before. You're right. And Pamela says they're not getting my vote unless they're doing something specifically for us, period. Yes, indeed. And Bo, how you doing? He says if Herschel Walker wins, the Democrats going to lose their mind, and you know who they're going to blame? Black men, damn it. And Kimberly says, I noticed when Trump is silent, Kanye is active. They're both are Geminis, two-faced energy, or is it just me? I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they probably have conversations and they talk. I don't know. I mean, Kanye is gonna be Kanye. Kanye is gonna be all right though. Kanye is holding about 4 to 6 B's in the bank, so he can say and do whatever he wants. He's been banned off of Instagram and Twitter for what I understand. Earlier today, he was gonna, say something about the Jewish community, and they was like, "No, you won't." So they cut that short. And that guy from Texas just says, "What about no voting, no fucking?" Jesus Christ, they tried it. Yeah, well, that's what they give us because they know that's. And I hate to say it, not all of us, but mentally, that's how mature we are as far as the voting process. That they know we need to just be entertained and swayed into getting into the voting booth. So
and the funny thing you said about being entertained, that is ingrained in us because what's the I don't know if, like I said, Demetra doesn't watch the dating shows, but a lot of you guys that watch like Kendra G and stuff, I watch it from time to time. What's one of the requirements that the women always say, and even some of the men in the requirements thing? He's got to travel. He's got to have a passport. We love to be entertained, even if we really don't have the means or the money to go to some of these really super exotic places. We got to have a passport. We want to travel. We want to do these things. So it's ingrained.
And Joseph Coley, I think he thought Donovan is Walter, but he says, do you think the rising gas prices will do the Democrats in?
Yes. As a matter of fact, OPEC, in conjunction with the conservatives and the Republican Party, they have intentionally, even though Joe Biden was asking them, please, pump out some more gas, they were like, nah, we're going to go ahead and cut the barrels so that it makes it look bad. Because what is the most direct way to affect you all across the United States? Your pocketbook at the pump. And that's what they're going to do. And the more you get mad, here where I'm at in California, the cheapest gas that I can find is $6.36.
Yeah, they went down for just a hot second and then they are going right back up. So yeah, it's I think people are pretty, upset about that, as you should be. I mean, it's gonna cost you a small fortune to drive up the street, right? And let's see. Sleep Quietly Tired Toys. How you doing? It says, wait, what was that about the Bible? The Bible is our book. It's very much pro us. I mean, I can dig it depending on, what standpoint you're coming from. The Bible is actually an adaptation from our stuff. So I think if that's what you're talking about, Kemet, Egypt, of course. But yeah, I know a little bit about the Bible. Just a little bit. And let's see here. Check. It says they are hiding their stuff. Not that they're not doing anything for us. They're hiding that they plan to take us back to Jim Crow or worse through laws and the judicial system. So you're talking about as far as the Republicans, what they're doing with the Constitution. Oh, yes, they are trying to. That's why they were stacking the courts and things like that. But, Obama had an opportunity to do something with the courts and filled a lot of seats as far as the judicial bench is concerned. Did not for whatever reason. And so, yeah, I mean, I can see that's where the Republicans are going. Letitia says we're going to get our respect back from the Vatican. Okay, so you're saying the Vatican is the one that owes us the money. And Pamela says no such thing as pro-choice. Pastor Warnock needs to stop. Absolutely. And let's see here. As Shonda, you say facts, Demetra. And if you look up his quotes and other Negro Project preachers, they were quite anti-Black life. Yeah. But see, we know I ain't got to lie to kick it. Like, I'm not one of those people that just be sitting up on the internet lying. I get some things wrong. Don't get me wrong. I do get some things wrong. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm not going to, make those type of statements just because I'm bored, right? I have read about that. So, and I think everybody should, but Shonda, and let's see, Elsie says, thank you, Demetra, for saying the facts and truth about Margaret Sanger. Yeah. And I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. It's just the truth. And let's see here. Jay says that is a fact. What she just said about King and Sanger. Yeah. And one who cares. How you doing if I didn't already say that? He says facts, no lies here. And sleepy quietly tired toys. Sleep quietly tired toys. Says, oh no, he did. Did he receive that award earlier in his career, so to speak? Oh my God, that doesn't sound good. You're on point, Demetra. People won't let you just tell the simple truth. Yeah, I think it was in the 60s. Not too long before he was assassinated that he received that award. But again, his wife received the award for him. So look it up and check it. He says we can't get anything if we don't come together like MAGA folks. Yep, we too busy fighting about a whole lot of stuff. Kimberly says Dr. King was a part of the establishment. However, he fell out of good graces with them when he started. I stated he led his people into a burning house and that he wanted our check. He was dead a couple days later. Yeah, well, actually, what really let him get ostracized by the Democrats is when he started talking out against the Vietnam War. If you look at the timeline about like 1964, 65, when the Vietnam War, America jumped into the Vietnam War and it really escalated. And he was talking out against it. The Johnson administration had told him to be silent and try to stay positive about it. And he started talking about it. That's when those Democratic checks stopped going to his SLC and all the coalitions and stuff. Absolutely. So Dion, yes, indeed, says Democrats use MLK to checkmate blacks. And if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't Martin Luther King, and he was a Republican. So, I mean, I don't know. Oh, actually, he was, because people didn't become Democrats until when FDR came into the scene, and most of the white guys were working, and that's when the big migration happened up north to Detroit to fill the slots that were vacated by the white guys fighting overseas. Yes, indeed. And unless she said that came out in the WikiLeaks dump by Julian Assange. Okay. Hello, Angie D. How you doing? In fact, not feelings. He says, if I get a award from Margaret Sanger, I would accept it if I can give live speech to thank her, then get on stage and curse her out like there was no tomorrow. They would have to drag me off that stage. Yeah, but she had already plotted that 30 years before she gave it to us, which is crazy. And Kimberly says, Dr. King, Malcolm X, JFK, and Robert Kennedy were all a part of the system. However, they all rebelled against the system for the people and were assassinated. Even John Lennon assassinated. Well, I think from what I understand, John Kennedy was more or less assassinated due to what he was trying to do to the dollar, right? He was trying to flip over or do something different with the no, dollar. what it was he wanted us to stop paying interest on paper. So he issued government notes versus the Federal Reserve notes. Have you guys noticed the Federal Reserve notes? It's just a note. He wanted to keep us on the gold standard to where it was federal dollars, where we didn't have to pay interest that we're still doing today on basic paper, and they killed him. Yes, indeed. And Letitia says the United States is not going to ever do anything for us. That's biblical. Seems that way, right? And let's see here. Pamela says, no, since there's a leaked audio when I say it's not one, I'm talking about the Black and Brown Coalition. Oh, Okay, yeah, I haven't, and I've been out of the loop for a couple of days, so I don't even know what that's in regards to. So I had to get a little more.
There's a Black and Brown coalition. I'm here in California, and I don't see it.
Well, that's what she was saying. I guess there's supposed to be one, but we know that doesn't exist. LS says, riding dirty old school on point. UGK, love it. And let's see here. Letitia says, United States money is monopoly money. And Jay says, I will gladly take the blame for all the Dems' defeats. Check it says, Republicans plan on taking action to make things the way they want very different. Oh, of course. But, you know, they're doing for their people. They're doing for the people that, you know, vote for them. I'm not saying it's right, but they are making changes to, well, you guys know what it's about. Ultimately, they got that big giant replacement theory, you know, ideology running around. And so they want to make sure that they are not going to be in the minority, which all over the world they really are. But, you know, that's what that's about, to try to stay in the majority as far as their race of people. Shonda says, Kanye was about to get himself deleted talking about the Ish folks. Yes, indeed. Yeah, they took his accounts down. Like, nah, you didn't say enough. But, you know, crazy. People, and even him could say any and everything he wants about, well, actually, so they took it. I guess Instagram took the account down because I guess he said something to Puffy in one of the tweets or text messages that he exposed about the Jewish community. But Kanye was sure going ham on that sister, wasn't he? Talking about she's not fashionable and her boots, and just talking bad about the sister. And, you know, they was letting that stuff ride. So, goes to show you what the deal is. But again, we don't own these platforms, so we really don't have much room to complain. Thunder, you say mandatory reading the Communist Manifesto, The Prince, The Art of War, and the 48 Laws of Power. Yes, indeed. I am reading The Art of War. I've read it a long time ago. Most of the stuff I think we already know, but I read it on my phone, like if I'm sitting waiting somewhere. And to me, it's just common sense stuff, or I think it is. And Marcus says, I'm still sticking with the clear understanding that no one here was there, and it's easy to lie and falsify documents on a dead man who can't defend himself. And I think it's dangerous to speak things into fact based on what somebody else wrote or said, especially in America. Prove me wrong, brother. Don't type nothing else until you prove me wrong.
Wait, let me ask this for Marcus, and it's good seeing you, brother. You're always behind the scenes there. So basically, you're saying we shouldn't follow the Bible. Basically, our physics books don't mean anything because we weren't there to see them written or, you know anything about it. So basically, everything that was written up until the time each and every one of us has been born should be thrown out completely because we don't know who wrote it and what the facts are and all that other stuff. You know, and I'm trying to be facetious there, and I'm not trying to make fun of it, but that's kind of basically what you're saying, because there is facts that this stuff did happen and it is written. You can look it up. You can Google it.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like I said, prove me wrong. I want you to, find, since, I may be lying or making up stuff, I want you to find the information that proves me wrong, dear brother Marcus. And Duran, how you doing? He says the realest president that ever stepped into the White House is Trump. Okay. There's a lot of people who beg to differ. You know what? He might have been more real on certain aspects of where he just said whatever he wanted to say. But other stuff, I don't know. Maybe you can help me out with that. And Michael, you say, Donovan, you need to move to Virginia because the gas there is $3.50 per gallon. And here in Texas, it's $2.99. I paid that this morning. So, but it went up from the time that I left here on Thursday, go to Florida, to the time that I came back this morning. And Todd and Tasha podcast says gas here in, is it Louisiana or is it Los Angeles? It's over $8, which is sad. So that got to be Los Angeles. Yeah. Woo!
Wait. Now think about this, you guys, because when people think about California, especially Democrats from other states across the country, you guys don't realize this is a democratically controlled state. So why is our gas so damn high? Democrats control everything here. Matter of fact, they put a 12-cent tax on us and we didn't even get to vote on it.
We did, but it was some technology involved with the wording. So a lot of people actually voted in favor of the 12-cent per gallon tax. So it's been a mess ever since. Check it. He says Obama will stop by the Republicans from filling the seats, which is why they have those 3 additional seats. Okay, we're gonna keep going with that narrative, huh? That Obama was helpless. Well, for at least for the first 2 years that he had everything in his control, and whatever reason he did not use it, and then they use the excuse that his hands were tied by the obstructing Republicans.
And I'm going to have to kick some facts to you. You're saying that he was helpless. Now, he had all the house and the thing in the first 2 years. That's a fact. But for a helpless man, he sure wrote that executive order for the dreamers who are still in political limbo today and getting benefits and all that other stuff. So how is a man helpless, but yet he can give executive orders for people who aren't even citizens? And it's still tied up in the courts today. So when somebody says that trope of, oh, Obama was tied up. No, he wasn't. He had executive orders and he used them for other people and not for us.
Yes, indeed. And Momo, you says, and how you doing, by the way, says Marcel Dixon asked Warnock about reparations. Warnock did not want to talk about it at all. Yeah, he completely ignored him. And Al, you say try it, and how you doing, by the way, try a smooth Sunday broadcast at least once a month where y'all take a break from doing a 3-hour political show. But we don't have to talk about politics the whole time. Y'all throw something in the comment section. We'll be more than happy to talk about it. So we just kind of start off with something. But y'all can think whatever y'all want to talk about it. Let's talk about it. I'm with it. Letitia says, yes, our reparations is coming from the Vatican. That's biblical. Okay. And Kimmy says, don't be shy. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Yes, indeed. Please and thank you. LS says, King and his crew were paid by the people Jews who shut Kanye down on Twitter today. Yes, they did. He announced that he was going to do DEFCON 3 or something on them, and that never happened. Check it said they just passed. I posted a video talking about us wanting reparations, knowing their folks are dead set against it. Right, but what are we going to do do our part? Because there's some of that we have to do as well. Stop voting for oppression. Stop giving 97% of our $1.3 trillion to a society, a country that do not like us and will not do anything for us. See, there's things we could do. We just don't want to do it because, unfortunately, us as Black people collectively, we are so used to everybody doing something for us instead of doing it for ourselves. Because the Asians, they're not sitting around having these conversations about what people, they are to a certain degree, but it's not dependent upon their survival. Like Asians have their stuff together. They got their money working and all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, they want their politicians to, do things in their favor. And guess what? Their politicians do because they know that the Asians got the money on lock. They're working as a unit. And so we better do for them. Otherwise, they're going to organize on us and then we're going to be up out of here. But us, now, we don't do that. So we need to take a clue.
How many of you guys in the chat, since the Asians got their protection bill, have you guys noticed a change in their kind of like attitude when they like kind of walk around? I mean, they walk around like the white folks, like they own the joint, which they do. But you know what I mean? You just notice that you see more Asians in commercials. They're more out there than they were prior to this bill.
They got the power. They're the wealthiest race of people in the country. So they got the power. I mean, it's just a fact. And Michael says, Demetra and Donovan, what's your position on balancing racial separation and racial integration? I would be cool with starting with a balance, but ultimately, I think separation is the best, like it was back in the day of Black Wall Street. Obviously, sans the whole lynching and stuff like that. But I think that's best because Michael, if you think about it, that's what everybody else does. They're separated. They have their own communities and their own stores and schools and things like that. But when it comes to Black people talking about being separate, it's like, why? It's like everybody else is really doing it but us. So
yeah, and then to get the balance right, especially for us as Black people, our numbers, so they say, hasn't moved in 60 years. Because of the incarceration, the Black on Black killings, and or just the white police killings on us and incarcerations and all this other stuff. So the only way that we can rectify that is we're going to have to start going back to having families and those families having babies. Because, I come from a big family. My mom's the oldest of 12. My dad is the second oldest of 22. Same mother, same father. People aren't having babies like that because it is very expensive. The average child in the modern age, one child, they say is about $250,000 to raise. And that's if you're getting the money.
So let's see here. Each one teach one. He says, I'm traveling from Georgia to Texas where I'm trusted to the wrong people. I'm left here with my 2-month-old needs milk and I'm just exhausted and disappointed. Anything helps us. And if y'all see that and that's something y'all want to do, y'all can do that. But I do hope that you get to where you're going and everything works out. So those in the comment section that can see it. If that's something you guys are led to do, then, by all means, Letitia says, we cannot live among the enemy family. That is absolutely true. And Donovan, we ain't gonna talk about those Cowboys and Tyrone Jones. How you doing? He says, I thank you, Donovan, for the brief lesson on the gold standard. Yes, indeed. Kimberly says, yep, JFK was against the Federal Reserve. He wanted to go back to gold standard for the benefit of the people. American dollar is a promissory note. Yep, and that is, suspect the reason why he is no longer here. And BG says the Crest theory. Yes, indeed. Dr. Francis Crest Welsing. Check it says, so we should let laws that allow them to kill Emmett Till back in place because we realize them aren't great. Let me ask you this. When did those laws ever go away? I mean, they just passed the Emmett Till anti-lynching bill that doesn't really address much of anything. Do you know that lynching is already Capital One murder? So, I mean, that's more symbolism, if you will, but answer me that. Check it. When did the laws for Black people, the Constitution, anything ever get better for Black people after the murder of Emmett Till?
And you know what's crazy? Everybody's celebrating that he's repealing the marijuana thing on the federal level, right? What do you think would help Black people more so than anything? Wouldn't it be more important that he repealed the bill that he authored in 1994 that is still in effect and incentivizes states to incarcerate Black people? Wouldn't that be more beneficial than repealing a federal marijuana mandate? I think so, but he won't do it. Notice that? But we get all excited. Oh, he's doing the marijuana thing. Vote for Joe Biden. You got to be out your mind. Until that 1994 crime bill is repealed, Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to do it. Chuck Schumer doesn't want to do it. You got Tangi Brown up there on the Supreme Court. Why isn't she writing a whatever they write a dissent of that bill? Ooh, because Tangi Brown, she's gonna do it, and she's gonna.
You got Tangi Brown Jackson. She got another one too. I don't know if y'all saw it. Jennifer Lewis. Oh gosh, it slips my mind. Oh, Stacey Abrams. She got a jingle for her too. And so I thought this is, like it says, she plotted for 30 years. We need to become long-term thinkers, 2 and 3 generations out, like start buying up empty lots and vacant homes in the community and build build them up over time. Absolutely. I saw a lot of empty buildings in Florida. I was like, man, I can already see what's going to happen. The folks about to get in there and they're already doing it. I'm like, our people really need to step it up and buy some of those buildings, honestly. And sleep quietly, tired toys, you say. Sean at large, are you still here? Akadi, and I know I said that wrong, but I think y'all have a conversation between yourself. Marty says, Demetra, are you saying you don't read the Bible and live by it? I would love for you to let us know. All because you seem to clam up when it's talked about of the love of God. You seem very non-religious. Yes, you're absolutely right. I am not religious, but I believe in God. I have a relationship with God, but no, I absolutely not am religious because, for one, I've seen and hear people who claim to be Christians do a whole lot of things that are not lining up with the Bible. I see people act in a hateful manner, and this is from the pastor all the way out down to the parking lot attendant in the church. And so God never asked us to be religious. He asked us to have a relationship with him. That is man that has sown division as far as religion. You have Muslims, Christians, Buddhism, Catholicism, tree worshipers, anything you can think of. And typically they fight with one another. Do you think that God is the author? That what does the Bible say about God not being the author of confusion? Religion is confusion. And so, Moni, you can tell me that you read anywhere in that Bible that God told man to create all these different factions of religion and argue with each other, then I will walk into a church the moment after you do it, and I will say, I am here for the long haul. Y'all call me Deaconess Demetra. If you can show me anywhere in the Bible where it says that, but I don't clam up when it talks about God. I give reverence to God every day. I just don't worship man. I don't worship what man tells me to do because God did not tell us to do that. And so, again, show me in the Bible where it says that God says create all these religions and to argue with each other about it. And even what you're doing to me, if you're a Christian, why are you trying to chastise me, worrying about the log in my eye? See, that's biblical right there. tells you to don't worry about the splinter in my eye, worry about the log that's in your eye. That's the problem with religion, which is why I steer away from it, because we're too busy trying to get everybody else to check when the Bible said, for lack of better words, worry about yourself. I'm just saying. So I'll wait for that scripture if you don't mind. And let's see here.
So you're saying black men don't have to sit down and shut up when a black woman tells them to? I'm just saying, worry about yourself, right?
I mean, I can say that for y'all as brothers. Y'all need to worry about yourself. Y'all so quick to tell a sister what she can and cannot wear in her hair. And then y'all ain't even got no hair, but y'all gonna tell the sister about her hair.
But that's biblical. We are the leaders. That's the way God set it up. The men are the leaders.
Hold on a second. Let me give y'all another Bible lesson. Okay, let me give y'all another Bible lesson. Okay, let me be real quick with this. I like to talk fast when I'm trying to get to the comments. Okay, when Adam built the garden, did he do it? Or did he get Eve before he built the garden? The answer is no. He built the garden. Then he said, God, I am lonely. I need somebody to be here. I need a companion. He says, okay. He snatched his rib out. That's what it tells us in the Bible. And he created Eve. So the point that I'm making is a lot of these men want to try to be the boss of women, and they can't even be the boss of themselves. So what I'm saying is, build the garden, Negroes, and then you can come and get a woman and you can tell her what to do. Got it?
Got it. Now, remember, for all you brothers, just watch What's Love Got to Do with It. It is a direct Bible of how black men could build up successful women.
Yeah. Okay. So Nia Beatty says we should wholeheartedly believe and follow the Bible. Okay. I mean, it's a personal choice. I do know the Bible fairly well, I would say. And Beats by Dizzy, how you doing? He says, prove it without Google. Yeah, that's going to take somebody to watch who see themselves into the library, which I'll be honest, I ain't been in a library and it's been a couple of years myself. And Kimberly says, real crazy. And Todd and Tasha says, I stand on the Bible 100%. Okay. And again, I'm not telling y'all not to do it. I'm just saying, for me, I just know that. And I watch a lot of slave narratives, and I read them too. Even the slaves back, because the Library of Congress back in the 30s, or I think it was the 30s or so, they went and they interviewed some of the slaves that were still alive. It wasn't that many of them, but a lot of them, they're like, we know that was bullshit. We know, because for one thing, it said if the slave master really believed the stuff that they was telling us, then they wouldn't be going to heaven. We wouldn't see them in heaven. They would be in hell. They wouldn't so they were smart enough to say, okay, obviously you putting this whip to my back and you forcing me to believe what this Bible is telling me. But per what you telling me, if that was true, then you would be going to hell for the stuff that y'all doing to us. So they knew it was, it was like, yeah, okay, that's probably not gonna happen, right? But anyway, okay, computer, how you doing? It says the black child in the U.S. is the child majority already. And explain that if you don't mind me. Okay, so Todd and Tasha, so that's $8 in Los Angeles. Okay, got you. And let's see, let me skip down a little bit. Facts Not Feelings says, wait, Donovan, the facts in the physics books can be confirmed. The stories in the Bible have not all been confirmed yet, especially the story about God's existence. Science can't prove that yet. Yeah, I mean, so again, but would God want us to be even arguing about that? You know what I mean? Thunder. You say that is what the British royals do. We need to bring back and put into action the word stewardship. This will change the community for the better. I can dig it. Marcus says, I honestly will do my research, but I ask in return that a portion of next week's topic go to revealing undoctored proof that Dr. King actually agreed to work against his people for some pocket change. It wasn't pocket change, brother. Look and see what $1.3 million was back. I think it was 1963. See how much that money was back then. That was not pocket change. He says pocket change because I just looked it up and it was less than $2 million and 4 or 5 people was surely okay. But did you check the money?
Yeah, $2 million is way more back then than it is now. Way more.
Got to factor in inflation, brother. All right, so I'm sorry. Let me skip on down. Aniba, how you doing? And let's see here. Brother Don, my moderator, how you doing? He says, I just got my, I almost read that wrong. I thought he got me. You know what I thought it was? I thought he said I just got my Viagra, but he says I just got my Valera Ego 1 Pro scooter for zipping around town. I have solar to charge it as well. You know, I would do something like that in Houston, but these people crazy. Yeah, I've been and got ran over on the first day trying to be out there riding that. So yeah, four wheels for me. And okay, let's see here. And I'm just gonna skip down a little bit so I can catch up. Bruce Tracker says California may be a turn state, and explain that if you don't mind me. And asking, that guy from Texas says Warnock had no problem chopping it up with Becky, though. Absolutely. BG says we need to understand politics. Black people want too much entertainment. You better believe it. Beats by Dizzy says, let's talk about Black unity, something we lack. Yeah, I mean, it ain't hard to do. We just need to do it. We just need to stop being crabs in the bucket and, you know, stop hating on one another. It can be done. Anyway says Obama worked for the people who rule like most politicians. Yes, indeed. Donnie says Warnock is just walking in the shoes of Martin Luther. I ain't gonna say that word, Junior. Almost to a raccoon to you, crazy. Check it says Trump got rid of the police reform Obama put in place. Stop using their talking points. What police reform did Obama put into place, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, Obama signed a blue line matter bill. You know,
yeah, it was basically to alert the police that if, you know, a mass deleter, if you will, was on the loose, that there was some system be put in place that the police will be alerted. But if you don't mind me asking, what police reform did he actually put in place that was the benefit of Black people? And Todd and Tashi says, yes, the LGBTQ as well. And Kimberly says, if we had a nuclear war in the Old Testament was found, civilization would be rebooted, such as what to eat to be healthy, how to recognize disease. That was Denzel's movie, The Book of Eli is about. Yes, my dad loves that movie.
And you know, the funny thing is right now, after all we've learned from the pandemic and the prices of food going up, you've got people that are still not growing their own food. I just picked some pomegranates out of my yard. Ruby red, delicious, by the way. Even if you're in an apartment and stuff, people start planting some kind of fruit or something, because this thing is not going to get any better anytime soon.
Yes, indeed. And Marcus says, but also to get on topic, I swear it looks like to me we have given up and many have become numb to what is happening to us daily. Oh, yes, definitely. I totally agree with you on that. I mean, I'm keeping it real with you. Some days I feel the same way, like, you know, what's the point, right? But we got to keep on trucking. And Bruce Tracker says, yes, indeed, on Southern California for sure. Donovan and Thunder says, yes, he issued the silver note. And I will say for everyone to buy silver and gold, you can get physical silver and gold in fractional pieces, anywhere from 1 gram to 1 kilo bars.
Yeah. And actually, for those that don't know, if you ever have a silver note, you literally can go to a bank and they are supposed to issue you a piece of silver, whatever that value. It's going to be like a minute little thing, but. And also that if you're investing right now, you should be investing in elements, water, things of that nature, because everything is losing value and everything's being blown up. So.
Yes, indeed. And Brother Jonah says they sell Black people inclusion to our Black demise. Nothing in nature integrates with its well-known, not hiding, but open enemy. Absolutely. Nothing does. Nothing integrates well and say, hey, neighbor, how you doing? It just doesn't work that way. And that includes people, and especially us as Black people. And let's see, Letitia says, they text me daily for donations, texting them ugly comments. Yeah, I get those texts too. And Mallow Factor, how you doing? Says, is unity possible between FBA and ADOS? Ooh, I try to stay out of that conversation. I will say, though, since you asked that question, yes, it is possible, but we have to get back on common ground. And stop finding more ways to fight, and ask ourselves, why are we fighting? What is the when I say we, because I don't really ascribe to the FBA or ADOS, the ones that's out there, especially the ones we see on Twitter. I just kind of stay out of it. But I think for those who are in it should ask, why are we fighting? Like, how are we going to achieve unity if we are fighting? So. And Momo says it's cool when they do it. It's a problem when we do it always. And Neo Beta says, agree, we have to unite as a nation, minus the traitors, that is. Yes, indeed. Shonda says, Donovan, 22 children, same mama and daddy. I'm going on 10 and feel beyond done. That is an accomplishment.
Yeah, I don't see how anybody could have more than 2 in the modern age. If you've got 10, woo, Lordy, you must be a millionaire.
I mean, it's doable, you know, like they did back then. They were very resourceful. They didn't spend money, and they did what they had to do in order to raise a big family. So it's definitely, I mean, it's much harder now, I would imagine, but it's doable. Let's see, check. It says, are you saying things are exactly the same as they were before the Civil Rights Bill? Well, tell me something that's different other than that we can eat soup with white people and we can live next door to white people. Tell me something that's different that you can say, wow, I'm glad that happened. If you don't mind me asking.
All the white neighborhoods are still white. The affluent white neighborhoods are still white. You go to Manhattan in New York, all those areas are still white. Everybody lives in their segregated communities there in the different boroughs. California, Beverly Hills is predominantly still white. I mean, nothing has really significantly changed.
Also, check it. You say, would you have the show if they were the same? I mean, I'm not doing anything differently than Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, any of them were allowed to do. I can have this show as long as because they say the problem. I hate to say this, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not really speaking about y'all. I'm speaking about us in general. If they think that I was actually making a change, and they were black people in general was like, oh yes, let's unite. Demetra K said, let's do this. If they thought that I was actually affecting change, they'd have been done pulled the plug on me. So yeah, I mean, this show is not any differently than what they were doing back then, trying to ring the alarm. But I think it was it J. Edgar Hoover? Basically said, good luck. Black people, the unity. Obviously, they didn't want us to have it, but they already knew that they had did such a number on us that getting us to unify is like, good luck with that. So sure, they'll let us get on soapboxes and things like that, but they know overall, black people ain't gonna listen, because if that was the truth, then we would have listened to Marcus Garvey and a whole host of people that came after him if that's what we were into doing. But we're still having the same conversation that they were having over 100 years ago. So
and you got to think about this. At one time back in the 60s, even before the 60s, the black church was everybody met and they strategized and they got together, and we had our own little niche of leaders, right? Who was the party that said, look, we'll give you a tax exemption money as a church if you don't do any political type things? So when the Johnson administration approved the 503Cs and all these little nonprofit things, and the churches got these tax exemptions, what happened to the black meetings that the pastors used to rally and within the community where we can talk about issues that affect the black community? All of that is gone. Now, in the modern age right now, who is trying to reverse that, or who did try to reverse that and give the churches a political voice where you can gather people up there and get your people to the polls? That was Donald Trump. Do you guys remember that? About 3 or 4 years ago, Donald Trump was like, we're going to give the churches more voice so that they can be politically involved. And we've been affected ever since. But guess who stops that? The Democrats. I'm just convinced, you guys have to convince me where in the history of this country where Democrats have been down for black people. Somebody please show it to me.
Okay, Ashonda, y'all can hear I lost my voice just that fast. It happens sometimes. It'll come back though.
Please, no, don't let it come. No, go ahead.
It's back. It's the weirdest thing. Okay, so sorry about that. All right. Moving right along. And Tyrone says, people don't realize that Biden has a big part in co-authoring most of the laws that add to the woes of black people from the 70s all the way up to the present. Yes, and they need to educate themselves. That's what we've been trying to do here. Pamela says, Sister Demetra, I'm going to email you my number so we can discuss some useful info. Okay. Yes, and we'll have to schedule a time to talk. Check it says, I agree with what you're saying about religion. Yes, indeed. And Jay says, religion is personal. Everyone is spiritual in some way. Yeah, absolutely. And Herbert, he says, are we talking about King James new international version of this or slave Bible? I mean, I'm talking about all of them. You know what I'm saying? I think the things that in the Bible, a lot of things in the Bible are good allegories, if you will, life lessons, morals and stories of things to do and not to do. I definitely think that, but I mean, the slave master gave that to us. And we don't want nothing else to do with the slave master, but we gonna claim that book. I'm just saying, I'm not judging. I'm just throwing it out there for thought. All right, so obviously I'm behind a little bit, so I'm gonna catch up. Okay, computer says Dahmer was a Christian. Yeah. All right, and let's see who else came on here that I did not see. And I'm gonna get back to you guys' comments. I promise. I just want to catch up because I know I'm a little bit behind. Obvious truth, how you doing? It says, in vain they worship him, teaching for doctrine, the traditions of men. That's exactly what it is. I promise you guys I'll get back to your comments once I catch up. Wayne's Fairclough, how you doing? S, you say, God said it's not good that man should be alone, and then he made Eve. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. Thunder says, and Adam and Eve were kicked out of the garden. I wonder how many times he looked over at Eve and said to himself, I want my rib back. She was like, I'm taking half of the other ones too, sucker. And Duran says, laugh out loud, a man came from the woman, do the knowledge before you do the wisdom. I mean, obviously, right? Especially if the first person on earth was a woman and a black woman. But again, that's what the Bible tells you. So I was operating from that of what they say in the Bible about Adam and Eve. Don says neither of them created the garden. Adam only tended to the garden until they got kicked out, right? But, you know, per what the Bible tells us, and let's see, that guy from Texas says, is it still 19-10? And what's that? They're talking about a football game or something? And Michael says, Donovan and Demetra borrow a line from the film The Bodyguard when Kevin Costner said to Whitney, if you cross me again, I will not be nice. Yes, I've had to say that to a couple of people here and again. And let's see, Harvey Williams, 2000, how you doing? He says, Adam did not ask for Eve. Well, I'm saying, I'm just going from the Bible. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm just telling y'all what the Bible said, right? Didn't he say that? And Todd and Tasha, you say, does anyone know when the documentary will come out exposing BLM by Candace Owens? Yeah, I heard about that. It's going to be very interesting. I really couldn't take a whole lot. I mean, Candace says some things that's like, yeah, well, you know, she's right about that. But her overall shtick is really getting it back from white people. Well, let's keep it real. She tells white people all the things they want, they believe about black people, and then they eat it up and they pay her a lot of money to do it. But the BLM documentary should be interesting, but I think there's a whole lot of other documentaries she should be making too, since she rides for the right. You know, I would like to see one about her feelings on January 6th and a whole host of other things that, you know, the people she ride for, they do. But I think it should be interesting nevertheless. The teacher says he had everything, was busy naming the animals before Eve. Okay. Lashonda says we learn so much more than we do what the scripture teaches. Be slow to speak, quick to listen, and slow to get angry. I am listening. What is that? James, don't give me the line. Is it 1:7, 1:3, or something like that? All right. BG says Bible talk is how trolls waste your time. Well, we like to have a conversation here. We're gonna work it out regardless. And let's see here. I'm skip down again. Thundy says with everything that has happened in Florida and the Carolinas, who has started preparing with what Putin has been threatening when I need to get some level of readiness just in case the lights go off. People aren't preparing overall. They're not. Every time I go to a store, I buy water. I buy a lot of water, and I'm like proud to look into my garage. I'm like, yeah, my water game is tight. I'm like, you know, every time I tell my daughter, every time one of us goes to the store, get at least $5 worth of water. You know, whether it's jugs or whatever it is, because at the very least, we ain't gonna be thirsty. You know. Let's see here. Beast by Disney says the black woman is about 3 to 4 million years old. What's up with this Adam stuff? Yes, but again, a lot of people, they, you know, take the Bible as the truth. But one has got to be false, right? Is the oldest person on the planet a black woman, or is Adam the originator of humans? Which is true? Because I know that they found the remains for the oldest woman on earth, but have they found the remains for Adam?
Well, you got to remember the Adam situation is, comes from the northern high, Norwin, white supremacy area of the world, because we know that the thing they found in Africa was some kind of hybrid beast of an ape that has low intelligence and stuff like that. I mean, it's been proven. Look at the skull of a black ape and look at the skull of a black man. It kind of, I hate when they try to use a scientific approach about it. It comes down to this, at least for me. What is 7 days to God? We won't know until we get there. A day to God could be 1,000,000 years for all we know. So,
yes, indeed. Hello, Jay the Informant. And Marcus, I see a comment about calling Dr. King the C word. I did not call him that, and I will not call him that. You also say, So these comments calling Dr. King the raccoon now are the reason these kinds of conversations is dangerous, with the exception of him supposedly taking money. There is not anything showing that he was still not dedicated, even sacrificing his life to speak the truth, full knowing he would die for us. See, again, I don't think you heard what I said. I said it could be true that he did some good things, but he wasn't a perfect person. I said that. I didn't say he did. I think we need to be able to talk about people without getting completely unnerved. Like, oh my God, you're talking bad about. I wasn't talking bad about him. I'm just telling you what I know. I wasn't talking bad about him. I think Martin Luther King did a lot of things that a lot of people did not and would not do even to this day. But I mean, I think we need to tell the whole story. Don't you want to know the whole story? Like if you go to a restaurant, you say, I want the soup. And you say, what's in the soup? Oh, it's just some water. Okay. Well, I see some other things floating around in here. Well, that's all you need to know. Just know that the soup is good and that it's made with water. You know, don't you want to know all the ingredients in the soup? Of course you do. So why wouldn't you want to know the whole story? I'm not saying that Martin Luther King was a horrible person. I'm just saying, you know, what he did. I mean, honestly.
It's not even that. Okay, let's go to the modern age. Look at Al Sharpton. He was Mr. Anti-white and all this other stuff, and then all of a sudden now he's getting a check, and he's on some new stuff now. You see what I'm saying? All these black leaders. I mean, so it's nothing new. I mean, I know we hold these civil rights people in this big reverence and stuff like that, but you got to look at the tangible record that doesn't exist in some of these things, and you got to tell the truth on it. I mean, that playbook, Reverend Jesse Jackson, same thing. He was a lieutenant of Martin Luther King. All those people that Martin Luther King influenced after his death, what happened? Why didn't they pick up the baton and move forward? You can't tell me all of these guys are afraid of the bullet. Bobby Seals, a Black Panther who's not going to be running for office coming up in this next midterm election. What does he have to show for his 30 years in Congress? He got the Emmett Till bill passed. That's his claim to fame. So, I mean, you know, we got to be honest in some of these situations, and we see it going on in our Black politicians right now in our faces.
Got you, Studio Ballhouse, I hope I said that right, says, don't even compare your intelligence to MLK. Okay. So I skipped down to the bottom of these comments. But see, that's just the thing, though. And that's kind of why Black people are just duped. Because we can't hold people accountable. We can't hold people accountable at all. And Martin Luther King was not the end all be all of knowledge. See, that's what they taught y'all in. Why y'all think they taught y'all briefly about Martin Luther King in school? Why they didn't teach you about Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad? Why they didn't teach y'all about Noble Drew Ali and those people? Well, why do you think that is? And they got you on here talking about he was the smartest man in the world. I mean, was he really? Was he to the point to where he could not be questioned or taken to task? But see, that's, again, they know that they've done a number on Negroes. Martin Luther King has been dead, 64, 63, something like that. And here we are basically asserting that he cannot be questioned, or he was the smartest man. Like, so there was nobody else after that? I'm just asking. I mean, sometimes we got to like unbrainwash ourselves. And I think too, again, we gotta get comfortable with telling the truth. But if white people tell y'all something, then y'all believe it. But why is it that when they taught you about Martin Luther King, they didn't tell you that he received an award from Margaret Sanger, who is a big proponent, or was actually, of killing Black babies? Why didn't they tell y'all that when they was telling y'all that about Martin Luther King? So my intelligence is fine, but how about yours? You didn't know that though, did you?
Right. And then why do they call John Lewis an icon who was kicked out of the SCLC because he was very ineffective in regards to what he was doing? And he was part of the Big Six as well. Before John Lewis died, good trouble. If you look at his money that came in the last couple of years, he garnered more money in the last 5 years or 6 years of his political career than than ever in his life. And then how are you against the government and a freedom fighter and all this other stuff, but you spend more time joining and serving the people that you say that were bad for the system or bad for your people? And then you look at John Lewis's record and any of these Black politicians' records, and there's nothing tangible in there for Black people. But yet the white media labeled him an icon. We don't even call Dr. King an icon.
Absolutely. And so, y'all, I skipped down to the bottom just to kind of catch up because I was really behind. So if I skip somebody and that I didn't mention before, I apologize. But hopefully I will see you guys' comments. And if it's something you really want me to read, just put it toward the bottom, put it back in the chat so I can at least catch up. We can be a little bit more relevant in what we're saying. And let's see here. Where did I leave off?
Real quick, Obi, no, I'm sorry, I hope I said that right. Obi Nwachuku, can't wait. He says, I can't wait to watch the Warnock Walker debate, if you can call it that. Going to buy my snacks so I can enjoy it. Good laughs. But the thing is, Herschel Walker, he's already said that he's going to get his lunch eaten. He's already admitted that. So, I mean, Demetra, what do you think about the debate since we're kind of jumping in that?
I mean, I think that, yeah, he's going to, but Ralph Warnock will run laps around Herschel Walker intelligence-wise. What is he actually going to say that's going to benefit Black people? Let's not get caught up in, oh, Ralph is talking and walking a good one. Let's actually hear what he's saying, because if you really think about it, he's probably going to be saying the equivalent of that of Herschel Walker, and that is wah, 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 when it comes to Black people. Yeah, he's going to have some pretty nice little words, and he's going to be knowing some of this about the issues. But what is he really saying that's going to help Black people? Like, this is what I wish for us as Black people, is that we use more logic and less emotions. That's how y'all can fill in the blanks to they. That's how they get us. They got this wicked appeal to our emotions. Even that is somebody basically saying we're not smart enough to challenge that of Dr. Martin Luther King because we said he took an award from that of Margaret Sanger, and that's emotionally driven. Go look it up. I ain't got to lie to you. Like, there's no benefit in me lying about Dr. Martin Luther King. So I would say this. We really need to start thinking logically and say, okay, well, I feel a certain type of way. However, let me put the feelings to the side and let me deal logically with this situation. Let me do the math, as they say in the Nation of Islam. Let us, because as they also say, it's not what you know, is what you can prove. Leave your emotions out of it so we can be rational thinkers sometimes. That's kind of what I really wish. And I'm talking to myself too. All right, so let's see here. Moving back, Team Wizard one, I hope I said it right. And leather electric cars. How you doing? Long time no see. Team Wizard one, he says, us Black people disagree on just about everything, but that shouldn't stop us from uniting and coming together as one people when we have the same problem and issue. I totally agree with you. We can have differing opinions, but do we have a common ground that we meet on and say, okay, I don't like what you said, but this is what we really need to do to move the ball? I don't think so. All right. So again, let me move down to the bottom. I will address anybody that I haven't seen so far.
Real quickly before you get to that, off topic, but we're just throwing stuff out there. It's Sunday. We're Dallas Cowboys won, thank God, 4-1. I think the Eagles are the only undefeated team in the NFL right now, but that's okay. But my question is this, Demetra, and everybody, I want you guys to stop, pause, and watch what I'm saying right here. It's a very important question. I want you to look at Demetra's face. You ready for this, Demetra? Halloween Ends is coming out, and this is your favorite time of year. You are a Michael Myers aficionado, right? What is your take on the upcoming movie?
I'm definitely going to see it. It is streaming on Peacock, so I will see it. It's coming out this week, if I'm not mistaken. I do not believe that it is the last movie. Of course, they told us that, but if you guys really do the math, Michael Myers will be in his 70s. So how much more killing is he really going to be? You know what I'm saying? I love Halloween franchise. I really do. But if you think about it, the man to be out 70 or into his 70s, he hopping out of windows and falling out of trees, getting hit by cars and trucks, stabbed and shot a million times. Come on, man. I know you done use your AARP card a couple of times and you run around chasing your geriatric sister, Jamie Lee Curtis. It has to end sometime, but I don't know if it's going to be this time. I think that's kind of how they string us along. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to watch it nevertheless. All right. And so Christ, Truth, Freedom, how you doing? Okay. And then Studio says the Nation of Islam was on the corner selling Muhammad Speaks newspaper every day. Brother, I know my daddy in 1963 was the #2 Muhammad Speaks newspaper salesman in the nation at the time. He got to sit on the stage with that Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X. I got the picture to prove it, since y'all don't think I'm lying, so trust me. Also, I was born into the Nation of Islam. Father's been in the Nation of Islam since he is 19. He is 78 years old now. So, yes, I do understand. All right, so let's see here. Let me just move all the way down to the bottom. I keep saying that. Nubian Crystal, how you doing? He says, we don't think for ourselves. Honestly, we have to get out of our feelings and understand that we have to work together with loyalty to the Black communities. Money is the new God. They did that. Absolutely. Like we got to remove emotions out of the way. We are so emotional. So emotional, we don't get nothing done. All right. Moving down to the bottom of Facts Not Feelings says Warnock is way more dangerous to Blacks than Walker. I totally agree. I totally agree with you. But again, that takes some logic. And Kimberly says, in my Terrence Howard voice, Warnock, you ain't saying nothing, man. Sit down. Exactly. Christ Truth Freedom says none of them honored Godhead, Megger, Wiley, Evers. Absolutely. Yeah, they didn't teach you about that in school. Did they either? No. Brother Johnny always says, most only speak as slave and think and do as the fool MLK told us. He integrated us into a burning house when he rebelled against the government. They cut him off and killed him. If you scared to think liberated beyond your colonizers, just say that and hold them white hands tighter. Preach. Hallelujah. I'm just saying. Thank you for that, brother. Facts Not Feelings says every politician must be subject to constructive criticism. And yes, Dr. King was a politician pastor. Yeah. Why are we afraid to like we all should be examined? I'm examined every day. I take the criticism. If it applies to me, I do something about it. If it don't, I keep pushing. But it's examination, self-examination, and examination by others is how we grow. But to say that Martin Luther King was a deity, most of y'all saying that are Christians. Now, y'all know damn well he couldn't have been no deity. Reading the Bible. I'm just saying. Herbert, you say 666. What about that? And Beast by Dizzy says, I was going to say, get the lights up, but you niggas, okay, are on top of it. And he means by that, kings. And Letitia says, Herschel stay in the basement until after election day. Yeah, well, Georgia, they got a tough decision. I will say that.
Well, real quick, I don't know if you guys know, even your local elections, a lot of these candidates are not debating. They figure they've got money and all this other money in politics. Oh, the Democrats, we got to get money on politics. That's unfair. But even in my local elections here, we have candidates that are not debating. They figure they're going to run on pretty. People are going to see their pretty signs, and who has the most signs is going to win, and all this other stuff. You guys, we really got to pay attention to politics, because it's not the same as it used to be, where people are going to walk out there and you got this, 30, 40 volunteers walking the precinct and stuff like that. A lot of this stuff is sound bites, internet, what we're doing right here, and this is how they're doing their campaigns. So, and if you're not paying attention, you're going to get the wrong person elected, and then you're going to be in a deeper hole than you already are.
Yes, indeed. Obvious truth. Yes, indeed. Says MLK received Margaret Sanger's award in 1966. But see, they think I'm lying up here. Studio said, y'all saying MLK was for abortion. So I think it's kind of a play on words. I wouldn't say that he was necessarily for abortion, but you did have a lot of the leaders, a lot of them, even back to the NAACP. They were for eugenics. Was it Booker T. Washington? I think it was, because they had this thing of if you weren't a credit to the race, then maybe you kind of shouldn't be here. So they were for like sterilization and abortions and different things like that, because they only wanted the credit, if you will, to the race. Y'all heard that term before. Credit. Oh, you're a credit to the race. You're a credit to the race. And so that's what they were aiming for. They wanted to get rid of the downtrodden. And people that were considered burdens, and Black people were considered that, especially after slavery. So, was he for abortions? Being a pastor, I would say this. I don't have the information to say that yes, affirmatively he was, but I think if he knew Margaret Sanger and he said he would consider that his most prized award, I would kind of think he knew what her agenda was. Dr. Martin Luther King was not stupid when he went to Morehouse at the age of 15, so he wasn't a dumb man. So I would think that he would know who he was receiving an award for. What do you think, studio? And Arnie Buddy says, via Nation of Islam. And Letitia says, you want Herschel to win? Well, we're going to find out. High welfare office. Okay.
I'm going on record, and I've gone on record before. If Trump was winning right now, I would vote or not vote for Trump. But I'd probably vote for Trump if those were my only choices. And if I could vote in Georgia, I would vote for Herschel Walker, because the Democrats need to pay a price in regards to taking our vote for granted. If there's no consequences for what they do, people are going to continue to do it. And what the Democrats need to do is start losing some election cycles where they're going to start taking our vote seriously and giving us what we want. How does 2 Asian senators go to the president of the United States and say, this is what we want, and if we don't get it, your agenda will not pass? They got the Asian crime bill on the first try.
Absolutely. Old School 23, how you doing? You say we need more Blacks in higher positions, such as in police departments, doctors, nurses, teachers, construction workers, and in a lot of human resource positions.
Wrong. I'm sorry, I have to disagree with you. We already have those people in those positions, and yet the police culture has not changed. Val Deming. It hasn't changed. I mean, we've got these people.
You call the man wrong, and he ain't wrong.
Well, what I'm saying, I disagree.
Or woman, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I disagree. Maybe I should say that. I disagree. We have major cities that have police chiefs that are Black. People are in congressmen that are Black. We got more than enough people in positions, and yet we are in a dire situation. So having more of them, I don't think is going to solve the problem. I don't think it is.
So the operative word was more. We need more Blacks in higher positions, like you said, such as police departments, doctors, nurses, teachers, construction workers, and a lot of human resources positions. He's absolutely right. And we also need those people, but we need them to be for Black people. But absolutely, you tell me, Donovan, when was the last time you saw a Black construction crew in any place you've been?
Oh no. I agree with that stuff like that. I was going more to the police department and the people that make decisions that can change the culture. The lower level people, like the regular workers, absolutely, you need more of that. But then when you're only a certain amount of the population, you got to use the statistics of how that works. But having all of these people, you've got Jim Clyburn, the number 3 Democrat. He has no power. You got all these people that chair all of these committees. Maxine Waters has been the chair of the banking committee for years. And yet Blacks are least likely to get loans and business loans and all this other stuff. I mean, come on, we have them in the positions. They just aren't for Black people.
Obvious truth. She says abortion wasn't legalized until 1973. So yes, the operative word is legalized. But were they doing it before then? Yes, they were doing it before then. And during the eugenics program, a Negro project, if you will, it was called sterilization. So they would do it before that happens. But let me finish, Donovan. Let me get to these comments. Those things have been around for quite some time. So you're absolutely right. Obviously, at the federal level, it's not legal, or they said they don't have the jurisdiction to decide on that. So absolutely. My neighbor says, I'm not voting because I put myself beyond the need of crumbs. Okay. Let's see here. I'm gonna skip down to some people that I've not seen. Just to kind of catch up. Extreme X, how you doing? It says Stacey Abrams is paying the price, as she should be. Don't get up there pandering, talking about Black men. I need you, but you ain't trying to say what you're trying to do for Black men. You're not going to ask anybody else to work for you for free. I think Donovan froze up a little bit. Check it. He says we have to squash the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, etc. first, then cool. Who is this we? And do we have the ability to squash the Proud Boys or any of them? We don't even have the ability to unify, let alone we're going to go around there squashing them. That's why I'm saying we need to really think logically about the things that we advocate for. And I'm not trying to, give you a hard time, but honestly, we don't have the ability to do any of those things. Facts Not Feeling says Dems will have to lose big because of Blacks in order for them to get the message. Yeah, I think you're right. Little Monkey. You say, is that Spike Lee? Donovan? Is that who you're talking about? He can be whatever you want for the right amount of money. Just hit my Cash App. We'll make it happen. Herbert says, Brother Donovan, I've been swapping ye old Fed reserve notes for silver bullion. Okay. And Patrick Tyler, how you doing? He says you need the right people in. Absolutely. Okay. All right. All right. All right. I think we getting somewhere. Yakiwa, how you doing? He says I'd rather vote for Mickey Mouse. A lot of in California, a lot of people wrote in people like Barney and Hello Kitty, whole lot of things where they weren't happy with their candidate. So yeah. And Studio says Gavin Newsom in California just signed a bill that your doctors can't say bad against the vaccine and COVID or they lose their license. I'm not familiar with that one, but Gavin Newsom has been making a whole lot of movement in California. So, all right. Belinda, how you doing? Says vote all Democrats out of office. That's what a lot of people are talking about doing. Just looking, see that guy from Texas says these black politicians are just gatekeepers for white supremacy. Yep. And Arneva says Donovan is right about that. Obvious truth says Rand Paul, not Ron Paul, running for a re-election in Kentucky. Studio says vote all Democrats out or lose your country. All right. And Miss Shantae, how you doing? Says I was told there is no such thing as lower position. We will serve a purpose. Okay. And Yaikwa, I know I said it right that time. It says the thing is do their words match the need of our people? Exactly. We don't even take it that far. They just look good. They sound good. And then we, put them in office. Okay, I saw somebody say the Proud Boys are good. Okay. Everybody's opinion is valid, I guess. Thunder says, question, freeze dried foods, canned goods, or military MREs. Which one would you prefer? Me personally, I would prefer canned goods. I've never had the MREs. I heard they weren't all that. Freeze dried foods, not so much. Donovan froze up. Donovan, you're frozen. So come on back in. Okay, there you're moving around now. But you're frozen. And let's see here.
But notice.
You're freezing up really bad. You might need to come on back in. Oh, I'm at the bottom. Okay. So yeah, Equaba. I'm gonna get it right one day. He says, and what percentage have they made efforts to accomplish our needs? And I would love to know, but the proof is in the pudding. I can't see anything just yet. Nothing that to the point we can say, wow, I can see really, going to the polls for them, right? And Letitia, you said, Stacy, remember her Chad romance novels? What? Check it says, so vote for the people that definitely don't want to do what we need and what eliminates us. No wonder we can't get ahead. So vote for the people that definitely don't want to do what we need. Well, Malcolm X said voting for the lesser two evils is still doing what? Voting for evil. So why would you vote for evil? Right? They're evil on both sides. Why would you vote for them? And I feel like I should say this. Myself nor Donovan are Republican or Democrat. We are nonpartisan. So I don't belong to any party. If that helps, I want to vote for the party that's going to do something for me and for my people. That's how I vote. And Kimberly says, last voting cycle. Yeah, Donovan, you kind of freezing up really bad. This last voting cycle, I voted for an independent party. That's how fed up I am with Democrats and Republican parties. And a lot of Black people actually did that. LS says, RNC and the DNC work for AIPAC against Americans. I believe it. And Arneva says, the Proud Boys Comic Crews, we have ages in here. Yeah, I can't really see how they are good, but it's said to each his own. Jay says, military foods have a shelf life. Okay. And Marty says, I agree. It's eclipsing off in Aries. Enjoy the time of war and discontentment. That's what an Aries brings. Being the first sign of the zodiac changes is what's happening. A political aspect, shake up world. So I think you're talking about me. I am an Aries. So are you saying that I bring discontentment? Okay. Donovan is frozen. Donovan, you keep going in and out like a strobe light. Donovan? Can you hear me, Donovan? Okay, yeah, because you kind of like you're back. Okay. All right. So studio says the FBI infiltrated the Black Panthers too. Absolutely, as they are continuing to do with a lot of other organizations even today. And let's see here. Say America's already set up, economically set up for everyone else. They say they won't. They want to add. They're just kicking the can down the road. What's your thoughts on this statement, family? Well, I mean, so I think you're talking in regards to the current administration that's given billions of dollars to everybody else, but the people they said they would stand by. I mean, they'll continue to do that as long as we continue to vote for them. I mean, we're not holding them accountable at all. We're mad, but we don't have action with being mad. So Jay says, I vote to policies, not parties. Same here. Obvious Trudy says you're registered independent. Okay, Aniba says, would Jesus vote for the lesser two evils? Exactly. Good point. Studio says, stop saying both parties are bad because right now the Democrats are destroying the country. Well, I mean, they're both bad for Black people. Which, I mean, I'm going to speak my truth, whether, you like it or not. Neither party has done any good for Black people. They are two different wings of the same bird. So me saying that does not negate that the Democrats are destroying the country. I didn't say that they weren't. Again, we got to come up out of our emotions and start thinking logically. I'm one of those people. I think I'm pretty clear when I speak. I'm not one of those people that kind of say, and read between the lines. I think I'm pretty clear. So I've never said that just because I said that neither party is good for Black people, that the Democrats weren't destroying. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna mute you, Donovan, because you're not moving around. I mean, yeah, you're still, but I can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. This is weird. Nomi B, how you doing? It says they should pay people to vote for them. The right person that gives out the most money to win. Okay. And yeah, equal, but you say, shouldn't we choose our own leaders without their say so? Do we ask them who we will choose at church? Absolutely, but they tend to choose our leaders for us, right? And check it. He says, sorry, I'm not voting for that. And Frank, you say peace. Well, peace be unto you as well. And Moni says, speaking of water, Demetra, I got to stock up on some cases first thing tomorrow. And this week I had a couple of cases, but I went through them. You're right. We need to really stock up on our water game. Absolutely. I mean, because you'll be thirsty and you'll be thinking about it. Herbert says $100 million in campaign donations for a job that pays less than $400,000 a year. Yeah, what's really going on with that? It's about the power. About the power. All right. So. Ooh, it's with 2 hours. And Thundy says, question, did you do okay in that winter freeze? And what improvements would you make? Yeah, we did okay. Of course, we had the lights go out and the water pipes. We didn't have any pipes burst because I bled the pipes and all that. I didn't know how to do those things. It was cold. It's all outdoors, literally. But as far as improvements, would I make? I would just, y'all want to know the truth? I'm hopping my ass on a plane to California. If another freeze is impending, and that's where I'm going, I'm gonna do like Ted Cruz. You know how he said him and Heidi, they went to Cancun. I'm going to California with my folks where the sun is shining, and then when it's all, I'm gonna bleed the pipes here, get on the plane, and I'm gonna be in sunny Southern California, and with my shorts and my t-shirt on and my Vans while everybody is freezing. Thoughts and prayers with you, but I'm not going to endure that. I'm not, honestly, if I'm stuck here, I don't know what I'll do, but I will, I think I will be better prepared. How, I don't know. We have an electric car, so we can always cook and do things in the car. There's a plug and all of that. So I think we're pretty much prepared. We can watch TV, do everything in that electric vehicle. So, all right, so let's see here. Mm-hmm. Lady Ace, he says, hey, Demetra and Donovan. I want to ask Donovan, if we have politicians in place, why haven't they established anti-Black hate crime bill and the reparations for Black people? Did you hear that, Donovan? Yeah, Donovan says something funky is going on with his computer. I think he's got some Martians or something running around up in his computer. But I'll try to answer that. Can Lady Ace, you say, if we have the politicians in place, why haven't they established an anti-Black hate crime bill and a reparation for Black people? Because we've demanded, but we haven't really did anything to make them do that. Like we continue to vote them into office. We have politicians sitting in office for 20, 30, 40 years that have not moved the needle for Black people. Take that of Maxine Waters. She's been in there since 1991, 92. And what has she done specifically for Black people? She has done nothing, but she talks a good game. She's reclaiming her time. She's going to go hold Trump accountable, do this, that, and the other. But they've done nothing. And so we talk a good game, but we don't walk the good game. And that's why they haven't established those bills. They know we only get mad, but we do not take action. So anyway, let's see here. We are about to get out of here, but I just want to make sure that I got everybody's comments. Donovan, I don't know what's going on with your, let me see, you left me a message. Oh, you said so it's the military base making your electronics go crazy. Okay. So I am sorry to hear that. In studio says Africans don't want to have anything to do with you Americans. Or I wouldn't say that's true. I went to South Africa along with that of Donovan and my daughter, and they loved us there, and we loved them. So that's that narrative that's been played out in the last couple of months. That is absolutely not true. There's some problematic people in Africa, sure, just like there's problematic people in America. But to say that Africans do not like us, I know for a fact that is not true. I was over there in the motherland, and I felt nothing but warmth and love from Africans. So that's just my experience. I can't tell everybody else what to think or do. But Thunder says I was okay. Lots of snuggling and bourbon. See, that snuggling part, that's where I'm gonna come up short. So I'm gonna have to go on back to California so I can get some warmth. Bourbon maybe, but the snuggling, I'm asked out in that department. So all those quilts and Afghans kept us warm. Yeah, I got a lot of quilts and stuff, but you never know. Maybe I have a change of luck. Let's see here. Letitia said, Demetra, especially if it gets freezing in Texas. Yeah, I'm gonna get my ass on Spirit and be up out here. Checky says none of them can do anything by themselves. Okay, and Frank says nothing. What we call her Auntie Maxine, shaking my head. Yes, indeed. And then Studio says, do you know that Burkina Faso, they eating tree leaves now because of U.S. sanctions? I do not doubt it at all. And you say we don't have a party, but we need one, right? And Alexa says, Demetra, get your backup gas guzzler, Chevy Suburban fueled and ready to go. Yeah, that we will do. Keep the cars gassed up, but we do have an electric vehicle, so that actually came in handy. We were able to charge the cars. You know, we have an air fryer. We could take that out there and, you know, cook up some vittles. So, you know, we're going to do all right. Yes, Entree Spirit. I am a frequent flyer on Spirit. I do not care about the ghetto-ness, the hair bonnets, the white people wilding it, because the white people will be on there wilding out too. I don't care about none of that. Give me my book. I was going to say recline. You can't do that on Spirit, but, you know, you lean back as much as you can. Just, you know, get there safely. That's all I care about. So Herbie says, obviously, Adam was a white dude because you ain't taking no rib from a brother. You know what? That is funny. That is funny. All right, y'all. So I love and appreciate y'all. And Michael says, Demetra Donovan, did you know that 54 African nations have universal health care? I've heard a lot about it. What's stopping us, right? So anyway, love and appreciate y'all. We are going to get out of here. And let me see here. Leo, how you doing? He says, I appreciate you both of your points of views and sharing the knowledge and ideas. And thank you for being here. And Thunder says, Spirit Airlines stock is cheap right now. It's a good buy. I will look into it. And Kimmy says, we need a good Spirit Airline story next time. You know, next time I fly on Spirit, maybe something interesting. Oh, I do have a good Spirit story. Okay, the last time I flew. Okay. This is good, y'all. This is a good story to leave out on. So this is kind of the first time the plane kind of was late a little bit, but we still got there early. I was going to Los Angeles to visit my daddy. And this brother, he had a baby in his hand. The baby was probably like 2 years old or whatever. And so we stood by each other and we were talking. And he says, oh, oh, they did this when I was coming up here. It was they got to the gate late, but we still got here on time. I said, oh yeah, so you from Los Angeles? He said, yeah. He said, I had to come out here. He said, I caught a plane to Houston. Then I caught a Greyhound in Louisiana because his sister has 3 kids that she lost to the system. So he said that he was talking to the CPS over Zoom, and they was like, oh, just wait. And he was like, nah, I'm coming to get my nieces and nephews. And so he said, right now, I can only just get one. He said, by one, I'm going to come out here. And I tell y'all, he was talking as loud as I'm talking. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to get my babies from this racist system. They doing this just like they did in slavery. They trying to kidnap our babies, but they ain't going to kidnap my baby. When I tell you, he was talking loud, just like that. And all the other Negroes, it was like moving away, like, I'm embarrassed. And the white people, they were just kind of standing there. And I was like, that's right, brother. I know that's right. I said, we got to stick together. I said, don't let these people keep our babies. And, we was amen and high-fiving, but it was just so funny to see the other Negroes. They were like, oh, my God, this is so embarrassing. It was kind of like the Negroes with Marcel Dixon when he was talking to Ralph Warnock. The Negroes put up the Baptist finger. They was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to head out of here. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But I told that brother, I said, good for you for not allowing your nieces and nephews to get lost into the system. There's enough of our babies in the system. And I said, kudos to you. And I hope everything works out for you. And we got on the plane and we got to LA on time, ahead of time. So anyway, I will see y'all later. Thank you so much, Donovan, for being here. Thank you so much, Marcus, for everything you do behind the scenes on Facebook. Thank you, YouTube and Facebook, the other side of the conversation. We love and appreciate y'all for having this conversation with us on Sunday. We'll be back. Donovan and I will have a podcast on Tuesday. We'll be back live with Walter Wealth Wednesdays. Of course, look for my videos here and on the African Diaspora News channel. Of course, you guys, if you're not subscribed to the African Diaspora News channel, please do so. And all of Brother Phil Scott's channels and everything like that. A lot of good information. Of course, we have a PayPal, Cash App, Venmo if you want to donate to the channel, become a member. But at the very least, like and subscribe. See y'all later. Peace.